To those that are with us by the web, can you hear me? You should be able to hear me. We'll see what they say. Ooh, that is hot. No, that's me. I think we may be buying a new headset. Let's hear. Yeah. So, good evening, Viviana. I understand there's a sick child at home. And Miss Karen. Did I see Miss Karen here? Must not be. But can you guys hear me okay? I'm going to go over here. Okay, I'm not muted there, so it should be. So anywho, those that are with us by the web, thank you for being there. We're always glad that you're here, and we're just sitting around. Okay, Viviana says thumbs up, so that's good. So we're sitting around catching up on the week and telling stories and yarns of yesterday. So it's been a good week, and looking forward to this weekend. Saturday is our campus care day. You're excused. Yeah. Having a meniscus repairs. I didn't realize you could just remove a meniscus. Do they put in an artificial meniscus? Huh. Okay. Well, which one do you want? I'll pray to that. Okay. Yeah. Let me just tell you this. Arthritis isn't as much fun as the senior adults make it out to be. So, as a man who's had some, and probably still does. But so Saturday's going to be good. We got a lot of stuff. If you've got a few hours you want to come in and invest. We've got cleaning. We've got yard. We're going to work on planters and stuff, and air filters, some trimming. I mean, there's a little something for everybody. So, I know one of the goals is to take out all of the tables and chairs and clean them all, which that's a lot. That's going to be a lot of work. So, but I always love campus care days just to get up here. I love being here, if you don't know that, and I love being here even more when there's folks around. So, remember, Sunday morning is our communion service, and so for a couple of our newbies, this will be your first time, so that'll be good. And Ladies Fellowship is Tuesday night, and 6 to 8 here on campus. And once again, ma'am, you are excused. But it's going to be a good time, and I'm trying to think of what I'm going to do next Tuesday night. It could be dinner and a movie. Could be. When's that new Viking movie drop? My wife won't be down for that. Jeff? I hear a mandate. And then, of course, a week from Sunday is Easter, so that's going to be a good day. And I've actually toyed with a sermon entitled, "What Do You Want for Easter?" I don't know. We'll see. So it's always fun in my head. It's always fun in my head. See, the thing is Christmas and Easter are like the two Super Bowls. And the challenge is the base information is the same. And I know some pastors that they go and they pull the same sermon and you're going to get it. Which is fine. Truth is truth. It doesn't change. But I'm not that way. I got to bring it somewhere from different something, Yeah, something different. So, but we'll see. But what do you want? That's such a great question. What do you want? So anyway, that's in the prospectus possibility. Hey, good evening, Jason, in the land of the sun, out there in New Mexico. Good to see you. Thanks for being there. Oh, let me take that banner off there. You don't want to look at that. There we go. Now go over here. Okay. Anywho, all right. Well, so we have two in our Who's Your One Lenten sermon series. And so we're going to wrap that up, and we are looking to carry that theme, Who's Your One, through the year, because it's a great reminder, isn't it? Who's your one? And we are looking at having a very special, is it a promotion? Is it a promotional giveaway would really be? Yeah, the Sunday after Easter, there's very probably going to be a promotional giveaway for all in attendance, so that will fall under that theme, so that'll be good. I need to get stickers made, get some car stickers made or something. So, speaking of car stickers, I bought a I Support Ukraine sticker for my car because I do support Ukraine, and it's the most worthless sticker you could ever buy. It has had like 30 seconds in Texas weather, and it's shot. So I'm going to have to scrape it off. As soon as I looked at it, I thought, this is why Jeff Phillips doesn't do decals. Don't do them. He doesn't, nothing. I said, well, what, Care Flight? Nope, he doesn't do them. So it probably was. But it is LB, low budget. So it's going to be coming off, unfortunately. A few things in the way of prayer remembrances, Buddy and his bride. So Buddy was not able to take his treatment this week. They call it infusion now. I guess that's the name. His blood count was too low. But tomorrow he will be having a scan to determine the condition of his condition. And from that, he's going to do a consult with a liver specialist. So it could go, we continue with the infusion treatments. It could go, we do a surgery and remove a portion of the liver, the affected portion. So the scan will give them, kind of the direction forward. So remember them. And Melinda's doing well. Did you say she has 3 more treatments? 5 more. Okay. So that's good. Remember, Miss Sylvia and her family will be hosting them here on campus Friday for their family meal prior to her sister's service on Friday. And then Randy Hampton is homesick. Apparently there's an illness thing out there. So she was homesick today, and so I told her we would remember her. Oh, there's Buddy. A little late. That's okay, Buddy, but you'll need to go get an excuse from the office. So, but that'll be good. Miss Vicki, I brought your husband a gift. It's a book by Dr. Jeffress. Yeah. I didn't buy it. It was a part of books given, and I saw this and I go, oh, okay. So yeah. So, but tell Ronnie I spent like $40 on it. So, but I was hoping because some of the books in there were autographed, and I'm like, whoa! And I saw that one, I was like, oh, if I could get I'd get Ronnie. So, but it's not autographed. I thought about, but there you go. Hey, my pastor gave me this. He said you'd sign it. So just continue to pray and trust the Lord for these things. So, are there any questions from Sunday's message that you may have? Any questions from Sunday's message? I always like to ask that because you might have them. But I know I'm such a good teacher. I don't leave any stone left unturned. That, or you're afraid to ask, which I don't know. So, was there anything new that you learned, or is there something that you may have liked, or I guess given the topic, disliked from Sunday's message? Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, when I started down that track, I kind of cracked myself up a little bit because, if you say, hey, is there anything good in hell? I mean, 99.9% of people are going to go, well, no. Well, the unfortunate truth is there is good things, but they're not enough, to want to go there. So, did you? Good. I told someone that, you come to ALF, you never know what you're going to get. And I guess that's part of the mystery, right? So I don't know, because, I come to church with me, so, but do you come to church and you think, well, I wonder who knows, You never know what you're going to get. So. All right, well, let's retouch on a few things. Does anyone remember the sermon topics during this sermon series? Does anyone remember one of the sermon topics, the titles? I guess it's better. Titles. Anyone remember a title? Who's your one? There you go. See, I would give you a piece of candy, but we're in Lent. And secondly, that would be a good one, but I would ask you, okay, but what does that look like? Who is your one? That's right. Who's your one? That's the overarching. I'm a big overarcher. We've been doing the In God We Trust series now for 2 years. And I want you to know, I'm bringing it back after Easter. I've already got it. I've got the title, and it is delicious. So, I was like, yes, that's perfect. So, but anyone remember a title of one of the messages? I already gave you one. Huh? Yeah. I mean, that's not the title it was given. I mean, but yeah. My wife, when I told her, I was going to be teaching on that topic, Sean, you're newer, and some of you guys. When I was a younger believer, I was not the picture of grace that I am today. I had some very sharp elbows when it came, and in fact, I once had a license plate border that simply stated "Heaven or Hell, turn or burn." It's theologically correct, but it does not win friends and influence people. So she asked me, she kind of goaded me when I told her. So Sunday's message was go and tell. Go and tell. We looked at the rich man and Lazarus and the come and see. There you go. See, antithesis. Yes. Nathaniel, it was come and see. So last week we talked about, or this Sunday we talked about the how, when, where, and why to go and tell, and we'll touch on that a little bit more. The come and see was come and see what we found. And I made a note here. One of the challenges about being motivated about going and saying come and see is sometimes we're insecure about what people might see. Because when we say come and see as a believer, especially to an unbeliever, we're inviting them to look at our lives. And we all admit we're not always perfect, right? And we feel insecure about that. And the world just loves to find your hypocrisy and mine. And then we say, come and see, and we might invite them to look into our family life. And, we don't bat 1,000 there. I was doing some counseling Monday at Panda Express with my bride. It was one of those impromptus. Where are you? I'll come right there. And can I just say this? I'm not going to give who, when, what, and why. Can I say this? My bride brought it. It was, because you guys hear my mouth all the time, But when Sharon Vaughn speaks, it's like E.F. Hutton. And Sharon Vaughn, she brought some truth in all of her grace. But sometimes our desire or a passion to say come and see is come and see what's my life. And we talked about that. It's okay. Come and see the good things. Come see the bad things. I think that's one of the greatest injustices we as Christians try to do is say, well, just look at my best self. Social media. Can I challenge you with this? One time in your life, I know you won't get to do this. Maybe Ronnie will do it. But one time in your life, get up, first thing in the morning, as you are, take a picture and post it on Facebook. Yeah. You know why? Because that's not what we do. That's just not what we do. Why? Because at some level, when it comes to social media, we're insecure to let people. Have you ever seen a picture of me without a shirt on? No. Why? I'm insecure about that. I would be jumping into a pool if you ever see it, and it is out there if you want to really dive deep. But anyway, we invite them to come and see, and we can have insecurities because of our own lives. Our family is, not perfect. Oh, I remember why I started that Monday morning counseling session. So we were talking about marriage and relationships. And so my wife and I were talking about our marriage, and I said, listen, Lord knows I'm not perfect, but Lord knows that lady right there is the pinnacle of all things in my life. Everything flows through her and for her. Every day and every way. And I looked at her, I said, now, you'd agree with that, right? Because I walked out on a thin branch. And then the last one is about church. Come and see. Now, believe it or not everyone's excited about someone else coming to their church. And that usually tells more about where that person is than maybe the church. But when we invite someone to come to our church, we might be afraid of what they'll say. Because what if they don't like your church? What if they go, well, I've heard bad pastors, but that's the worst. It's going to be hard for you because, hey, Ronnie, I got you a gift. Yeah. Dr. Jeffers. Yeah. I spent $40 on this. Yeah. And Dr. Jeffers says if you'll bring it over there, he'll sign it. Anywho, so we can have that reservation to come and see. So we have go and tell, come and see. You're doing good for the two that are most closest to us. We looked at Christian leadership. Half a truth's a whole lie. That's true. That was really the springboard for Sunday's message. We asked the question, what is our mission? What's our mission? What is the driving force of our lives? And what's interesting is we can have a lot of spin-off from that, but what is our mission? To know him and to make him known. And then we talked about how valuable one is. And I've challenged you. I want to challenge you again. Can you think of one person that was instrumental in your coming to personal faith in Jesus? Can you think? Now, there may have been a whole pool of people. It does take a village. Miss Clinton and I don't agree on very much, but I will give her that credit. But can you, in your mind, in your spiritual, can you think of, I think of my little Appalachian Pentecostal grandma. She had a significant fingerprint in that. My mother-in-law, who picked up stray people. Yeah, it was a Sunday night at church, and she walked by me and she goes, "Hey," she goes, "Where are you going to dinner?" And I went, "Me?" And she invited me to Pizza Hut, old Pizza Hut. And I thought, wow, I don't even know her. Why in the world would she invite me? Oh, Pizza Inn, man. I worked at the old Pizza Inn. So how valuable is a one? Well, here's the thing. If somebody was your one, and you just might be the one for someone else. Jeff, I remember when you were in Florida, out there being with your family, your brother, and all that, and Jeff had the opportunity to go to the hospital and led a family member to Christ. You were his one. And I remember getting to sit with that individual a little while later and just hear him. It was just pouring out of him. And then hearing testimony about there was a difference. And you're like, okay, I'm getting cold chills just thinking about it. So we've talked about those things. And so Sunday, when we talked about go and tell, we used the passage in Luke 16, quite honestly, one of, if not, it's one of the few passages that even speaks to the place called hell. And it's an interesting story, and it's interesting how you hear preachers approach it and to what angle they want to take it. We have to be very careful. I mentioned Sunday, The rich man who found himself separated from God, we have to be very careful because it's easy to jump right off the dock on him, right? Now, what do we know separate? What is the eternal separation? What is the deciding factor? What's our faith? The Old Testament saints, it was what? It says, your faith has been applied to you as righteousness. So the Old Testament saints were investing in the promise of a Messiah. In the promise of a Messiah. It was faith. But their faith was in something that hadn't happened yet. Now, I say this all the time. Let me get a cup of that. Sip of that right there. Yeah. Authentic life. I'm always repping something. I say this and I believe it's true. In my humble opinion, I think the Old Testament saints had better faith than we have. Because they were obedient in the hopes of the Savior. Sure. Oh, sure. Where today we have the privilege, and I had an article sent with me today to me. They have found what they believe is the oldest depiction of Christ. Yeah, it's a Polaroid, but it's so yeah, Polaroid. And so we talked about, so why do you think life after death is such a diverse topic? It's a lot of unknown, isn't it? That's right. Yes. What's interesting is how come we didn't get more testimony out of Lazarus? Wouldn't you love to sit and talk to him? Because he was deceased 4 days. And it was 4 days for a reason, but it was 4 days. Now, I got to tell you, if I'm in heaven 4 days and I get called back, I'm going to be a little disappointed. But, God didn't see fit to give us that. But the difference between him and Jesus was he had to go through that doorway a second time. What a drag. But one is there's the unknown. We have wonderful people and books and about life after death experiences. And let me just say this. I'm not going to dismiss them wholeheartedly. I always just say this. Take it with a grain of salt. One of the things I always want to know is where's the glory going? That's where I if someone comes, anyway, I'm not going to rabbit hole. What else? Why else is the afterlife such a divisive topic, difficult topic? Okay, it does call into question our values, because what we can all agree on is one. Huh? Yeah, that's good stuff right there. I'd be giving him candy right now if it weren't Lent, So, what we all can agree on is we're all going to get there, right? We're all going to get there. The question is what do we leave behind and why? We don't own anything. Man, I'm going to tell you, that's one of the greatest liberators that your heart will ever find. You don't own one thing. You don't. Your name may be on the title, but it's going to someone else or somewhere else. And when you can open up your hands and go, Lord, I'm just a steward of this, you'll be surprised how much you don't even really want to have in your hands anymore. But yeah, what is the value of my life? Is it to build all this just to leave it for someone else? And we all know that sometimes the inheritance can be as big a curse as it is a blessing. The Bible says a little inheritance is a blessing, because too much, too soon, too easy it can be problematic. Is there any other reason? It calls to the evaluation of our lives, the value of our lives and what we value, the unknown of the after. Anything else? Some people don't believe. That's right. I actually mentioned that on Sunday. Let me find that here. 17%. 17% of people that in the Pew Research said that they don't believe in anything. That's called annihilationist. An annihilist. That means that, as the old poem you say, the worms crawl in and the worms crawl out. I'm just going to be honest with you. I could never hold to that position because I'm too big a coward. I want something more. Even if it's a lie, I want something more. And I can't help but wonder, because I always want to know the question behind the question. So if you're an annihilist, how did you get there? Right? Because we're not born with that. I believe God, the scripture says that God has written eternity in our hearts. There's something in us that aspires. There's something in us that has a sense of eternity to it. There has to be. How can you stand at night and look up into a sky and go, well, there's just not anything else? How can you stand next to an ocean and feel about the size of a grain of sand? Now, those are humbling experiences, but it screams. There's, even if, anyway, another rabbit hole. So, 73% of Americans surveyed said in this survey said they believe in heaven. That's a good thing. Do you remember what they said the qualification for heaven is? Just being a good person. Now, is it a sin to be a good person? No. Have you ever known a good person and maybe you didn't know if they were a believer or not? I have. The challenge that we face is what? What they believe the qualification and what the Bible says are not the same thing. You see, that's where the rubber starts meeting the road, and it gets a little little warm. But 73%, I personally think that number is less. But that's what they said. 62% believe in a place called hell. So that means that everyone believes in heaven doesn't necessarily believe in the other. Okay? And now what's interesting is, when we looked at this, what could the rich man do to go from where he was to where he wanted to be? You remember? He says, let me come to you. And Moses goes, no, chief. Fixed gulf. Can't do it. Now, what's interesting, and, Sean, we were talking here recently about how human beings want to put handles on the things that we maybe don't understand, that maybe we fear, or maybe we don't like, right? We want to put handles on it. And so I was having a conversation with someone just like yesterday, and we were talking about the difference between eisegete and exegete. You can make the Bible say anything you want it to say if you tell it what you want it to say. But if you let it tell you what it says, that's a completely different ballgame. Because this passage says what? Sorry, chief. No get out of hell free card. But we have global religions that have produced a pathway. Now, I've told you, and I've been very honest, both of my biological parents, I have a hope to see them in heaven. I don't have a no, I will. I have a hope I will. Now, my aunt and uncle, John and Patsy, now I know that I know. I had the conversations with them myself. I know that I know. And so this is troublesome for me, right? And here's part of the reason is this, is if a loving God knew me, and he did, and a loving God knew me, and he knew what my life would be, and he did, why couldn't my parents live long enough that I could become who I was going to become so that I might be able to reach out to them that they might know Jesus? You see? That's one of the Ferris wheels I ride on. But there are religions out there that man has created a catch-22 on something that is very difficult. One of the things about being an exegetical teacher, one of the things about exegete study is this: you don't get to walk around the difficult passages. This is difficult. It's difficult for me. And so one of them is our friends the Mormons. If you study Mormon theology, and I'm a certified Mormonologist, I guess, whatever, but in the Mormon theology, there is no eternal separation or judgment. Now, there is a place that, quite truthfully, you just want to boil it down to, everyone but Mormons go to. It's always interesting. If you're not of us, then obviously you're going there. I mean, Church of Christ never thinks that, but anyway. But let me just say this. There are some Baptists that think that too, and they're just as wrong. But the Mormons have an out. So if you're a good Mormon, if you're faithful, and if you're good, right? Good is good. If you're good, then you can get a temple recommend. That means you get to go to the temple. We have one in Dallas, and there's temples all over the world. And in there, you get to do temple works. One of them is Proxy Baptism. And you say, well, what is that? Well, Proxy Baptism is when a good Mormon is baptized in the same process we baptize, but when they call a name, they call the name of someone who has passed. Do you know why the Mormons are the number one in all the world genealogists? Why? It's their theology. Why? They're passionate. Yeah, they're passionate. Why? Because we have a way. My aunt was baptized in my father's name. Now, between you, me, and the fence post, it didn't make no difference in the world. And for a period of time, my mom, my aunt, Patsy, actually signed up. Card carrying, temple going, Mormon. And I remember talking with her because, man, they actually housed missionaries in their house. Oh, man. And it all boiled down to this. Because my mother didn't have a no-so about her brother. But the Mormons had an answer. And I remember telling her, I said, Mom, I said, you listen to me and you hear me. If God calls me home tomorrow, I said, by God, you had better not. Now, anyway, my mother renounced, and my mother was just looking for an answer that Orthodox Christianity can't provide. Her heart wanted something that So, no, I never told her that story. She wouldn't think that's funny. Yeah, that's a time I could have gotten arrested in Salt Lake City, but that's a different time. So we. Hey, there wasn't a rope across the elevator. There was a rope across the stairwell. I pushed the button, the door opened. That says come in.
Somebody's seen stuff that they couldn't solve.
Come and see. I mean, so 73% Americans believe in heaven, 62% believe in a hell. That's problematic, right? That's problematic. If you believe the Bible, you don't get to pick and choose which parts you believe. There are parts of the Bible that are very uncomfortable. And we can admit that. Well, at least at ALF we can admit it. When God talks about in the Old Testament, when we put people under the ban where he sends, the armies and he says, wipe it all out. That makes me very uncomfortable. But God didn't ask my opinion, right? Makes me uncomfortable. And, if God ever goes, hey, Jimmy, have you really thought about anything you'd like to ask me? I might ask that. But still, So 73%, 62%, 7 believe in a different kind of afterlife. And that would include reincarnation. See, again, if we're not comfortable with life after death, we need to put some handles on it. Reincarnation. Can I just ask you this? Do you want to come back and do this again? I love my life. I am so fortunate. Because in that system, depending on how you do, you can go up the chain or you can go down the chain. How would you like to be that daisy that's in a field of cows? It could happen, right? And so they have a different idea of what afterlife. I become one with the cosmos. You know that you can actually today be buried, as it were, inside a pod that produces a tree. You feed the tree. Now, here's the thing. Someone asked me, well, Jimmy, how do you feel about, cremation and these things? Listen, God brought dirt together and he made us. He's not going to have any problem putting us back together. But if you think that being buried with a tree seed is going to put you into a different state with the cosmos, that's disappointing. So here's the interesting thing. 73% believe in a heaven, 62% believe in a hell, 7% believe in a different kind of afterlife, 17% do not believe in any afterlife. How many believers do you think are in the United States currently? Out of 256 million, what percentage of that would you think would claim to be a Christian? 82%. I like that number. 20%. Oh, boy, Ronnie has written us off. No bueno. Okay. You're a little high. You're a little low. 65% of Americans claim to be a Christian. Do you see the problem with the math? That's why theology is important. That's why we need to know what we believe. And even when we're uncomfortable with it, we need to stand by it. And so we see this. Jesus spoke 3 times more often about hell than he did in heaven. Why do you think Jesus would do that? Oh, I didn't even look over here for... Okay, they're not giving me comments. So let me just say this. That sun sitting right there is casting a really nice light right now. I look kind of holy. I do. There's a glow about me, buddy. Wouldn't you agree? Isn't there a glow about me? Yeah, there's a glow. Why would Jesus teach 3 times more on a place called hell? Does he want people to go there? Maybe he does. Okay. Well, did they have to correct you a lot because you did a lot of bad things? Well, if they were correcting you a lot, then you were. Okay. Right. That's true. Sometimes, we're trying to influence people. You try to help them think. One of my primary goals in teaching is this. I want you to think. Well, hey, everyone has their role to play, right? Why else? Why would Jesus do it? One is, he clearly had a message. But, a spoonful of sugar catches more flies than a spoonful of vinegar. Would it have been better if Jesus taught 3 times more on a place called heaven? Kind of win them over with, hey, wouldn't you rather go here? Okay. Okay. Right. Right. You're spot on. You'd be getting a second piece of candy if we were doing that. No. Huh? It's Lent. Because it's Lent. Yeah.
You don't have to eat none of it, sir.
What can I say?
Deciding that we're not going to get that rude. He is fast. He's got fast.
You'd be hard pressed. You know, we do have Passover coming, and one of the acts in Passover is you clean out the house, because a little leaven ruins a whole lot. So,
Go to the Smarties over here. Clean it out.
well, yeah, you can rob the kids, yeah, but you know what, Sean, you're really right on the beam. An old evangelist used to say, you got to get them lost before you can get them saved. And if you recall, Jesus' greatest conflict was with the self-righteous. You remember all the sinners, they didn't have a problem knowing they were sinners. But the self-righteous, that's problematic, because you're right. If we're not careful, we can think more highly of ourselves than we ought. Now, we don't need to get into we're just, everything about us is evil and worthless. That's not what Jesus says. But he was teaching on this place because it wasn't just the place, it was the process to the place. Your righteousness is not enough. The Bible says that all of our righteousness, individually and collectively, is as filthy rags. And if you want to go study that a little deeper, that statement is, I don't even know if I could say it on CNN. It's very graphic. But Jesus was trying to help the self-righteous understand that your righteousness will take you there. Well, but Jesus, we're good. Good's not good enough. You know, and so when people are willing to receive what is being taught, we don't have to go over it and over it and over it, because they receive it. They hear it, they believe it, they receive it, and we can move on. All right? You know, if you've ever warned your kiddos, Morgan, what's one of the things your dad warned you about when you were a child? You remember? So has there been anything yet in your young parenting life where you go, man, mom and dad were right? That's all right. That's good, though. So, you know, don't stick that butter knife in that wall socket. Do you know how many times I had to hear that? Don't touch the stove. Don't touch an electric fence. Well, it sounds like I'm done. All right, for those of you that are with us online, thank you for being here tonight. We hope you have a great rest of the week, and I hope you're kind of noodling on these, and I hope to see you Sunday, Lord willing.